What up, world, and welcome to another episode of The Bright Side. We talk about all things marriage and family. I am your host, Steph. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Crystal. I see you got the J's on today. Switch it up. Okay. And for our guest today, very, very good friend of mine. Godfather to one of my kids. He's a great guy. One of the godfathers.
Keep going.
The brother Brand. Only friend I was able to keep through, went to war for each other, with each other, and we survived to talk about it all. Brandon Trent, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice to meet y'all. Glad to be here. First time, long time.
But nah, for real, appreciate you coming on today, bro.
I'm glad I got the call. Like in that first 10 episodes, I was
that?
ready here from ground up.
You wasn't trying to be like episode 40 type.
Exactly.
He wasn't trying to be season 2.
A season tour.
Exactly.
Nah, like I said, appreciate you coming through. I feel like today's a interesting episode because I think in going through, like I said, we talked about like marriage. We talked about like all like we've been talking about like mostly good stuff in relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that in your situation, I still consider it good stuff when I look at like today, but it is like that side of like, dang, like you kind of went through it.
I ain't gonna lie. Like when you told me I could come on a guest, I'm like, what am I gonna talk about? I'm not ready for that. It's not time.
It's not time.
But then we broke it down. It's like, oh, okay, we're doing all sides of relationships. So.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just marriage. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's about to say that's what we trying to really focus on, and like I said, keeping it real and not try to be like, oh yeah, everybody bring on here just a beautiful situation.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Can you move the mic a little closer to you?
Oh.
Yeah. Perfect. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah. So, today we talking about starting over. We're talking about single fatherhood. We're talking about all the ups, downs, and everything in between. So for you and your situation, let's go back to the beginning.
Okay. All the way back
to the beginning. OG teenage dad.
Teenage dad. So this is going all the way back to 2005, high school. Found out I was going to be a dad senior year. And with everything with me, I didn't think it was like, okay, I'm not going to be a dad. This can't be true. And then Juanita at the time was like, no, like, we're going to have a kid, Yeah. And the crazy thing is, everybody in the school kind of felt bad for her, because they'll ask, oh, you're pregnant. It'll go from, oh, we're so happy for you. And they're like, who's the dad? And she's like, Brandon. And they're like, oh, you're in So it was like, dang, what did I do? So,
they felt bad.
Yeah. So as a whole, the administration had very low expectations.
Not the administration.
For me as a father. Oh yeah. They were doing like double time for her because they thought, Dad is just not going to be there.
He's going to disappear.
Yeah, we're gonna prep you early.
Jeez Louise.
So, but little did they know, I always wanted to be a dad, and so like. I was a little bit nervous, like, geez, this is a little bit early. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got my whole life to look ahead, but here I am about to be a dad. But I kind of just slipped on into fatherhood. It was pretty easy. Granted, I had an incredible support system which made all that possible. So without that support system in place, then, like, I've been up the creek, as they say. It would have been a little bit rough. But, we had things in place. Yeah, exactly.
So important.
And everyone stepped up as a whole would have made being a dad a little bit easier. I was able to go to college. Like, everything was going fine. And then a little bit after that, Steph was there. I found out I was going to be a dad when I got to college. And it was like...
Oh, the second
one.
The second one. I'm like, oh, man, I'm going back to back. I was like, this is crazy. And it's like, all right. And it's like... What now? And then I was like, I really don't know what to do now.
Right.
I was like, you had one kid is manageable, but then 2 kids, like, all right, how's
you
this?
technically still a kid yourself, really.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Yes. It was like a lot of learning on the fly for me as a man. Because, like I said, I take everything a little bit lightheartedly. And it's like, sometimes you got to be serious sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, everything's not a joke, Brandon.
Yeah.
With me, it's kind of hard, though, because everything almost is always like, oh. just a little bit funny. You know what I'm saying?
I was about to say, and that's the funny thing, because I remember, like, that was probably the first time I think we had, like, hung out outside of, like, basketball in college. It was, like, the day that you found out, or that, like, Brene was coming. And I remember we just, in Yarno, just toasting up.
Yeah, like, oh, he's going to be a dad. And
Mind you, we all celebrating. Nobody's like, that's irresponsible.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah,
we just all
exactly. A bunch of 19-year-olds like, oh, okay, cheers.
Right, yeah.
First of all, we should have been drinking. Like, the whole picture is crazy. Like, so we're here cheering.
Cheers to team
Cheers
fatherhood.
to team fatherhood. You know, not one but two. Like, all right, Fred, let's go. I'm like, yeah, guys, yeah. It was like the craziest thing ever. But yeah, we got through that. That was wild. That was a wild time. And then next thing you know, Brene was here. So then we have Brandon and Renee. They're just 10 months apart. It's like
That's
back
it?
there. Yeah.
Wow, I don't think I realized they were so
Yeah.
close in age.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, 11 months apart. Brandon's born in January. Brene was born in November.
I did not realize that.
Yeah. So there's like back
So
to
that
back.
was literally back to back.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so we had them. My first, freshman year of college.
First semester.
Yeah,
It was like a month into
First
school.
semester. So yeah. So
Wow.
after Brene got here, that's when you start realizing, okay, things are a little bit different. And so at the time, I still was trying to spend most of my time on campus and going home, whatever. But over time, it's like I gotta be home more and more. On top of it, you have to work also. Like, okay,
Right.
you gotta pay for your daggone kids.
Did that
you know?
impact you, like going to class and stuff like that? Like, did you have to, work with your teachers, flexible schedule? And anything like that?
Yes. Like, once they work with my teachers, I'm heavy on the BS. So, I know, like, the one class, I had just, it was like English. And I had stopped going and everything like that. And at the time, Brandon, he was like just now getting ready to, walk and stuff. I'm like, I'm going to march a little bit up in here with me. And I walked him in there like, listen, things are a little bit crazy at home. I need a little. And he's looking at me like, wait, you have a child? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to make things work. And he's like, I understand. He's like, well, this is what you need to do. So I was able to do like everything I owed.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was a lot of work because I ain't turning in nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
Like, those next 3 days, I hit that joint.
Yeah.
I knocked all them joints out, and he graded everything like just straight up. It wasn't like, sometimes you hand someone late, high she gets like 80.
Yeah.
Nah, he he gave me like
He
a
looked out.
incredible curve. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
As it should.
right on,
Right.
right on. Support this black man. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So, way to go, Bram. But after that, that was like my go-to. Like, if anything was ever like late or something,
Yeah.
let's go, Brand. Put your good shirt on.
Put
You
your
know what I'm saying? We go. We got
Put your good shirt
March them in there, us matching like it's Easter. You know what I'm saying? And it was good to go. It was incredible.
Yo.
Yeah. So that worked out.
Yeah.
But fast forward is like trying to do that balance of school, work, and home at a young age. It was like, all right,
That's a lot.
something's got to give. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I was at the time we were in the school district, and I really didn't want to be there. Like, it was like awful. Like, I used to sit there at the desk, take my pictures, and sitting there BS, and like something's got to give. Like this freaking stuff. Mind you, the job was like kind of like a BS job. Like, they're into the budget or whatever. So I was in there for a little while, working. And I started trying to work more. Like, all right, so now I'm starting to work more than go to school. Like, I'm taking my classes less and less. And if I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just work, and then I'm going to go to school at a later date and finish up. But
Oh, so you were gonna take a break?
yeah. Well, the breaks kind of forced on me because I was BSing. Like, I'm not trying to ride up there today because I had a commute. So that commute was like, it was coming a lot. Like, the one time I was commuting in like the wintertime, and I was rushing to get from where I live up to Cheney.
Yeah.
On like a normal day, I get there like 53 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But I was already late, and it was snowing. So I'm like, I gotta push it. Like, I'm pushing. And like, I'm getting there. I get up there and making that right off of Township line. I'm going around the back, and I was going around one of them curves just normally, and that joint was like, shloop, and that joint just started spinning. I'm like, oh man, you just take the wheel. There's nothing I can do. I'm like, I'm just riding this joint out, and then like it just stopped. I'm like, all right, I didn't hit nothing. Looked around like, all right, I made it. Then after I was like, all right, you gotta relax there, Bucko. It was like, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Doing way too much. So that was like my sign to kind of pull back, like you're doing too much. So I stopped going to class as much and withdrew, and I was working more.
Yeah.
But then, you know, our life was always freaking crazy. You're working more. Then I was like, all right, Brandon, you're no longer in the budget.
Dang, yeah.
Like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you know, this is only supposed to be temporary, you know, while you're in school, internship. I'm like, this is beyond me.
Right.
Like, what is going on here? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, all right, so what do you do now? So then my brother's like, oh, you get unemployment. I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah. He's like, all right. So my
get
brother
paid to not work.
Listen, I ain't know.
What?
Listen, I was like, I get paid, not work. He's like,
Man.
bro, listen, this is what you gotta do. So sat me down, went through the whole process. The little, I used to call it the blue card. You get your little blue card in the mail.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm blue card balling. I was
Man.
like, man. Plus my overhead wasn't that high because I still was living at home, and so everybody had their own space, and like I am chilling. Like, listen, I'm okay. Like, all right, cool. So then was on the blue card for a while. I was like, man, when does this run out? Like, like how's this work? You know what I'm saying? It's like, is this gonna be there forever? And brother, he's like, eventually it's gonna run out. I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna rock till the wheels fall off.
Right,
you know,
right.
it's no rush.
Right.
So what? I guess during that time, was there any like? Was it just like living for like the day, or was like it? Did y'all start like the future plan yet?
So that's a good question. It was kind of like living in the moment. At the time, neither of us had our degrees, or whatever. So it was like, all right, we kind of use this time. You go back to school first and like knock your joint out.
You were supposed to go back first?
No, Anita was.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, you go ahead. We'll focus on that, and I'm just be here helping the kids or whatever. So you found like a program. She could do her joint online, and she seemed like an hour or two, you know, to herself to knock out her schoolwork, whatever. And the kids are a little bit older at that time, and like a toddler, I could dad some toddlers, like daddy daycare in full effect. And so time went by quick, and she was able to get done fast.
Yeah.
While I still was blue card balling, you know what I'm saying, holding it down. And so then it was like the plan was for after she got done for me to go and finish up.
That's great though that y'all were able to coordinate that way.
Yeah. So I always thought like when you get closer to 30, that's when you need to start getting like serious about life. You know. Fortunately, we're able to live a little bit in our 20s. When I say live, like you could take. I thought you always had more time to do and find your way, which is true and not true at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But I was able to take the time and kind of figure things out. But then as we got closer to 30, it's like, all right, we got to have like
gotta get more serious.
a path on where we're going to go, what we're going to do. And so that's what happened with that.
I know you planned it. I know you said you planned it like in your head. During that time where y'all having like, I guess like the out loud, like, all right, look, this is what we doing.
I would say yes and no. Like we'll have general conversations. So she didn't really want to be at the crib. You know what I'm saying? My thing was...
Oh, because she moved in with...
Yeah, she moved in with me. And then my thing was I'll outline everything that we will have to pay on our own. Like, listen, we got to pay rent, utilities, upkeep. When something goes down, it's like, we have to do all these things. I'm like, we're going to be, like, beyond in the red. And it's like, I'm not trying to live like that. Is that speaking from a place of privilege? Kind of. You know what I'm saying? Most people can't do that. But I'm like, listen... I'm not going to try to have my kids grow up in poverty if I don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it's like if she was truly unhappy, we could have found like a medium somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But in my head, I'm like, no, you tripping. Like, listen, that's not part of this plan or the script I got here. I'm not making no minimums or whatever it's called, addendums. It's like, we going to keep on going. Like, you were tripping. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, come on now. So that's what we're doing.
Nah, that's... And so I guess... Well,
me and Ricky on the same page.
Goodness gracious. So I guess with the... And not making the addendums, and then was it shortly after that on the way to 30? Kid number 3
Yeah. So Bryson
didn't stop shooting.
No, he was playing. So I wanted to have, in my crazy world, I want to have 5 kids by 30. I want to have 5 kids by 30.
So where did that what?
Listen, I want to have 5 kids by 30.
What sparked this desire?
I think being the youngest child.
Right, Nick Cannon. Well, Nick Cannon wasn't around.
I think being
yet.
youngest child and being by myself, I always want to have a big family of my own. And so it's like,
Or you have 4 brothers, or
but there's a 7-year gap.
yeah, true.
So I was lonesome all this time, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted my own little squad, all right, we out, you know what I'm saying? And everybody with a B name. So I was like, all right.
Oh yeah.
If you had Stafford, I had my kids' names picked out since
Years
7th
ago.
grade.
7th grade.
7th grade, you know what I'm saying?
You
Jeez.
stayed true to that list.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, other than
Absolutely
Brandon,
not.
I guess
Yeah.
you knew. I'm always gonna give
Brandon's
my
name was
first.
gonna be Francesca.
Francesca.
Yeah.
Stop.
They were like absolutely not. You know, I was like,
Stop.
I was like, come on, why not?
Francesca.
Yo.
Yeah, we had Francesca.
That's like George
Brandy.
Foreman. Aren't all his kids
Oh, his kid's name is George.
Georgina, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
like
Right.
it. I
Oh,
like
my
it.
gosh.
That's the type time I was on.
Francesca.
But again, I realized having kids, you gotta have the income to support these kids.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I was nowhere near no 5 kids income. I
Right.
was like, this is gonna get ugly fast. You know, I was
Yeah.
like, all right. By the turn 30, I'm gonna get this last one out real quick. You know what I'm saying? We can come back at a later date. You know.
Yeah.
So then we had Bryson. Everything was going pretty good. So now, she got her degree. I had started working for where I was at now. And it was like, you have serious jobs, money's coming in or whatever. Now it's like, all right, what are we going to do? So now we're at the time now when the kids are getting older, and it's like, all right, what are we going to do about schooling? And so I went to private school. So in my mind, it's like, all right, my kids should go to private school also. So it's like, all right, I started looking around for schools for the kids to go to. And so because there's 2 of them, I was trying to go to schools where they have both boys and girls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how you ended up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I went to on my short list we had Episcopal, Shipley, and SCH Springside, Chestnut Hill. And so when we started applying everywhere, and little did I know, Brene, she's not a test taker. I mean, like the
standardized test.
Standardized test is just not her thing. And it's like they'll come back to give them assessments, whatever, and all the assessments will be fine. They go in the classroom, all the classwork, they're like, oh, okay, very good, good. And then I see the test, and I'm like, like this doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not adding up, you know. And so she kept getting waitlisted. And it's like, on top of that, because they're a year off, a lot of them, middle school was starting in 5th grade, and she was a year off.
Oh.
And and Brandon will be going to when they were starting middle school for the boys.
Gotcha.
And it's like, they're like, oh, well, we don't have any slots or anything like that. She's like, what are we going to do? So I was like, you know what, let's just get Brandon in first, and then we'll go from there. So that's where Brandon went to SEH. And I'm thinking okay, boom, we're gonna get a scholarship. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. We're gonna make this work. You know what I'm saying? So you talk to people oh yeah, he's very bright and X, Y, and Z. I'm like, yeah, Brand, we in here. Cause then you see the yearly for middle school is like 38 or something like that. $1,000 a year. And it was a lot. I'm like,
oh, this is
6th grade.
tuition.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is-
like
this
tuition.
Is
Yeah.
college for kids.
exactly,
Jesus.
exactly. So I'm like, what are we gonna do? The guy's like, oh no, we offer scholarships. I'm like, okay. I was like, all right, so we gonna unlock some money. He said, oh yeah, he tested really well. He's great. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, we in here. So then let's fast forward, and they send you the breakdown of the tuition or whatever. It's you see the top part, boom, 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 scholarship, and then you get to your part, and I still owe $12,000. I'm like, damn,
For the year?
for the year. I'm like, I thought you said scholarship. You know, I'm like, scholarship. I mean, what do we free? You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
I'm like, free. I'm like,
On the house.
yeah,
Keystone.
exactly. I'm like, come on, man. So I'm like, all right, let's see what we could do. So that's when me and her had that conversation. Like, okay, boom,
Yeah.
we're gonna try to invest in him and go from there. So we took on that burden, and so mind you, we're still at home. So you taking out, let's say, $1,000 a month off the top
Just for school.
just for one kid. Like, boop,
Jeez.
that's
Yeah.
brand. You know what I'm saying? So then that was that, and then after that, her car went down. It's like, all right, boom, what are you gonna do? She's like, oh well, let's get a new car. I'm like, all right, like, let's get a new. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you get a new
Buy a
car.
new car.
So yeah, so you get a new car. And it's like, all right, cool. Like, now we have a new car. So now we got one kid in private school. We got a new car. We still got my car, but that's not still a new. So it's like, all right, cool. We could do these things. Why? 'Cause at the end of the day,
Right.
we're at the house. Like, we're chilling. Like, our
Yeah.
overhead is still non-existent. Only bills we have are bills that kind of like we make. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like, but we're making these bills, but we still have to be here. So then she started having conversations like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm like, nigga,
This is an
what?
ideal situation.
Right.
Right.
I'm like,
it's working.
what are we going to do? Like,
Right.
where are we going? You can't just wake up one day like, I'm ready to go. Let's
Right,
leave.
yeah.
Like, yeah, we have like bill. I'm like,
Yeah.
where are you trying to move to?
Right.
We're gonna all be in one room somewhere.
I was about to say, for context, he lives in a mansion. So this ain't no, it ain't no regular house. This is not a regular house.
For context, it's
They have
not a
their
mansion.
own
It's
side
a-
of the
I
house.
was about
It's
to
a
say,
big
right?
house.
Like,
It's a 3-story house. My family's on the third floor, and so we're able to be.
not them having their own floor. So
I mean,
this.
we're on the third floor, so it was relative comfort. You know, everyone has their own rooms, bathrooms. The only time you can see is when
Yes.
it's time to eat. So it's like,
But again, still not like this ain't like your average 3-bedroom in South
Nah.
Philly. So it ain't
No.
like that.
we're not on top of each other.
Right.
Like I said, the only time you have to be seen is when it's time to eat, coming and going. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And yeah, so she wouldn't move because she's like, oh, it's not my own, you know, because she
Yeah.
wouldn't have like girl nights and all. I don't know. She wouldn't have people over and
I mean, I can understand that, but having to be like responsible for the situation that you guys had at the time, it's like you kind of gotta like let that go.
yeah,
Yeah.
For that period, I mean, you want to
Yeah.
put your kids in private school. It's like it's the sacrifices you have to make. Unfortunately,
And
Yeah.
so it really came to a head when Brandon was getting ready to go to high school. And I was like, okay. She's like, the
So was that
tuition
2019 or 18?
18. So it's going to be tuition goes up. You know what I'm saying? So then it's going to go up to like I don't know, like 42,000 for a year. And long story short, we have to pay like close to like 12.5 like for the year. So I'm paying like 11 something
Yeah.
a month. So it's like, all right, what are we going to
Gee.
do here? It's like, oh, I want to move. I was like, all right, but now you know I'm working for the city, and so it's like we can't move outside.
Y'all have
the
to live in
limits.
Philly.
We have to live in the city. You know what I'm saying? You could gamble like, okay, let's go buy a house and so. To then say no, like, oh, you're out the city, you're gonna get fired, and now what? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, where are we going to go? I was like, sure, we can move now, but now if you take Brandon out of private school, he's going to go. It was past the point where you know you could register and try to get into like one of the good high schools in the city. Philadelphia is like you got to get in early.
Yeah.
You know, 8th grade is like nothing you can do in neighborhood school. I'm like, so you want to send Brandon to neighborhood school? Now y'all met Brandon. Brandon's not that kind of kid. You gotta realize who your kids are. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how's this going to work? You know?
Yeah.
And it's like Nay. Luckily, she has a personality where she can adapt to all environments. You know what I'm saying? So she went to Mastery. She's just kicking ass, taking names. She's fine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't got to worry about nothing. You know. Brandon, on the other hand, he's like these heathens. Like I can't concentrate. Like what is going on? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's like type of kid where can y'all please be quiet?
Yeah.
You know? Like please. I'm like okay, all right. So yeah,
You'd have been at that joint with like a rolling book bag.
almost like he had the big joint. You know he big, so he had all his books. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Can you please?
yeah, him and the regular public school was not going to be the same because the regular kids were Yeah. And then like the curriculum, he's getting done fast, and they're like, Brandon, let's see your answer. He's like, he's definitely type, can't look at my paper. You go, not today. I was like, okay, all right. So that's Brandon in a nutshell.
Yeah.
He's not doing the work and letting you get credit
Hide
for
the
it.
tussle.
Right, exactly. Like, no, like you on your own. Do your own work, dummy. I'm like, all right, okay, Brand. So yeah, that was Brand. He was definitely one of those kids where it's like, listen,
And
you
he
can
went
do the
back
work.
too, so
Yeah,
it'd been
and he worked
crazy.
last.
Yo.
That was Brandon. So it's like, all right, what are we gonna do here?
Yeah.
So she's like, well, we could just take him out of private school. So I'm like, all right. Now we're at the point where you're kind of being selfish. I was
Yeah.
I'm like, if you already started him in private school, taking him out now is like, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, why are you going to be doing that to him? You know what I'm saying? So then it became like, for the first time, it's like we started having like money issues. Like, oh, how are we going to pay for it? I'm like, like what's going on? Like, why are we having money issues? You know what I'm
So
saying?
this is the first time after like 13 years that now money is an issue.
Now it's money issues. Not only is money issues, like, you're asking me, oh, what's this for? And I'm like, shit, like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Oh, now you're going to be the accountant. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. So now we don't have money for everything. You have money for what you want? Of course I do. That's why I'm here.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, we all have aspirations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you have kids, you got to put them to the side, In the world, I want to be at home all of my life. But I knew that being home, I could give my kids a very, normal life that normally...
Some stability.
Yeah, that you're not going to have with a teen mom and teen dad.
Yeah.
With 1 and 2 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
Like, yeah, so what are we doing here? So it was just wild. And it's like, the money issues start, and then it's like, now everything is starting to become an issue. That's why I'm like, this seems a little bit odd here for me. Like, why is everything, an issue? The good thing with me is, like I said, back to the support system, if things start looking a little bit weird, I start getting other opinions. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I know, I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So I know me and Steph had plenty of conversations, and I'm like, bro, is this, like, what is going on? I was like,
sound right?
like, is it me? Like, am I tripping? He's like, yeah, nah, bro. He's never going to steer me this way or that. He's just going to give his opinion and let me know, like, that sounds a little bit off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right. So then you try to talk to her, like, oh, what is your issue? And it's like, if there's always an issue and the issue can't be fixed, it's like, all right, something is going, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? And my biggest thing is, I'm not going to argue with you. Like, I always thought with women, like, you arguing back, mind you, I'm older now. Like, I'm not talking about, like, a 19-year-old, 20-year-old Brand.
Yeah.
We can go back and forth for days. Let me tell you something. But at my big age, why are we arguing?
Right.
Like, no one's going to win. So I was like, okay, I'll just remove myself and, we're not going to argue. So things really came to a head. It was Christmas. It was Christmas Day. At work that morning, came home, and she was having, like, an issue. She was like, oh, I don't want to go to your families for Christmas. I'm like, what? Like, what are we doing? She's like, no, because, her issue was my mom. They was on head. Is your mom going, why are you asking me my mom going to be at Christmas dinner? Like, where's she going to be at? Like, what are we doing here? She's like, oh, I don't want to go there. She's going to be there. I'm like, just going back and forth.
Yeah. Did their issues start when all the issues started, or was it always like a...
No, like, these, of course, like, in our 20s, we had, like, little stuff. It was, like, always little stuff. Like, we broke up, get back together. Nothing, like, prolonged.
Yeah.
She had moved out before and, like, moved, like, with her mom's house, her grandma's house. And it's, like, came back. So it was, like, for, like, the longest, maybe, like, 6-8 months or so, like that. But we were always in constant communication. So it was, like, nothing ever, like, real big. And so, like, we always able to fix things and move forward. But now, this time, like, I could, it's just, like, it was just more and more and more stuff. And so, even prior to Christmas, let's backtrack a little bit, fast forward a little bit too fast. With a conversation where she was like, oh, I don't know if I want to be in a relationship anymore. I'm like, okay, like, what does that mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean? She's like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. I'm like, what? Like, where's this coming from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my head is like, whatever. Like, I hear you talking.
Mm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So prior to that, how did you think things were going? Like, and then did you guys think that you would take it to the next level? Like, had you guys started trying to like make plans for
like marriage and stuff.
like marriage?
So
or-
the
yeah.
thing with marriage, I never like minded marriage. Like, all right, we get married. Like, sure, let's go get married. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care. Let's go get married. Like,
Mhm.
we've been together so long, but then every time we had talk about marriage, she'll be like, oh, we have other things to worry about. So it's like, oh, if we have a, if I'm saving for a ring or something like that, oh, what's this money for? And like, oh, I got books or I got tuition shortfall. I was like, all right, cool. I'm like, all right, like, you know, she's like, what you need to marry me for? I know her. I'm like, you're right.
So she didn't even want to get married.
No,
Well, it wasn't
I mean,
a priority to.
She says that, but in hindsight, I think she probably did want to get married, but she wanted, I guess, more me to be like the one, like we're
So like
Mm.
you
like we're going
wanted you to be like gung ho about it.
exactly,
And not, okay.
exactly. But 20-year-old brand, 30-year-old brand, if it's not something you want, I'm just not like I don't see that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a if we'd have said that, I'm like, okay, let's get married. Then we'd have been married. But it's not like it's one say, oh, he wanted to marry me and I
Yeah.
chased me down and wrangled me into the ground. You know what I'm saying? No, if you don't want to get married, then cool. Let's just keep rocking. So I'm thinking we're just gonna keep on rocking till whenever, you know, even to a point. Exactly. And I was always saying, like, we'll move out when the income will allow us to. So this whole time, you know, I was always looking for a job. And it's like, it just wasn't landing where I wanted to be at. And it's like, there was always something that will come and be like, oh, you can't work here right now, sir.
Right.
Like, come back, try again later, you know? So back 2018, everything's kind of going okay. She says early, this is all like in the winter, fall, like, oh, I don't think we should be together right now. This is like
kind of came out of nowhere.
This is crazy, you know? So again, I could be in the council, you know, staff, Joel, other people. I try not to talk to Stafford, because Stafford's like my real close friend, you know what I'm saying? Stafford's advice is always like, super, put yourself first. Yeah. Like, you know, you'll be okay. And so Stafford from the work was like, you know what? She got to go. You like, you know, she don't want to be here. She'll be all right. She got to go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I can't talk to Stafford right now because Stafford had me, you know, you outside with stuff on the curb and it's
right.
You know? You should have thought about that.
Want to be in the streets?
You know?
Yeah, you want to
you want to be in the streets?
Well, at least you knew whose advice you could take.
100%. 100%. And so it's like, we started talking to her, and it's like, all right. That's when we started talking to her. She's like, oh, I don't think this is what I want. I'm like, okay. And then around the same time, she started having this friend at work. She who would not be named, because I'm not going to give her any kind of clout, whatever. But it's a John at work. Yeah. And so she was talking to the friend. I'm like, all right, cool. Mind you, this same person, we had went out bowling and everything. I'm like, ain't no way. I ain't got no, you know, like, I ain't like, everything is like, everything's cool. You know what I'm saying? And then you start asking more and more questions. And then she's like, okay, let's fast forward to, you know, this is not what I want. I'm like, all right, well, what do you want? Yeah. I don't know. I'm like, okay, all right, okay. So, all right, you don't know what you want. So then let's fast forward from then to Christmas. I come home. She wants to argue. So I'm like, I am not arguing.
Christmas Day.
Yeah, Christmas Day. This is through the text. Boom, 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 boom. I'm airing her out. Bam, 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 bam. You know what I'm saying? I'm big texting. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, I'm trying to work, and luckily it's Christmas, so it's kind of slow. So I'm working in between, firing her up. Pow, pow, pow. So I finally get in the house, you know, everything's like, yeah, it worked. You know what I'm saying? Everything's cool. You know, kids come down, get their presents and everything. Everything's fine. Now it's time to go to dinner. So everyone's getting ready for dinner. And she's like, is your mom going to be there? Like, what do you mean? Like, how's she not going to be there? You know, like, where is she going? You know? So then she goes, oh, well, I'm not going. I'm like, where are you going? Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
So now she starts arguing. You know what? I'm gonna step away. Just got off work. I'm agitated. I'm just gonna step away. So I get in my car. I go like 2 blocks up. 2 blocks up. Let everybody get dressed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Put my phone do not disturb. Put some Christian music on. You know what I'm saying? Pull my seat back. I'm like, all right. Set my timer 20 minutes. Set my timer literally for 20 minutes. Turn my drone go off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Turn the car on. I'm like, all right. Turn my phone back on. I had all these missed calls. I'm like, what in the world? So my mom's blowing me up. She's blowing me up. I'm like, what is going on? So then I finally call my mom. She don't pick up. I'm like, let me get to the house. So then I get to the house. My dad's like, they were arguing. I'm like,
Oh Lord.
who is they? I'm like, why?
Right.
Why are they arguing? Mind you, my mom really has no reason to go upstairs. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's like kind of like our space.
Yeah.
She don't go upstairs. She was like, oh, she was looking for you, and your mom wanted to know where you went, and no one knows where you were at. She's the last one to talk to you. So for him, like, all right, like, why is it a big deal? You act like I was kidnapped?
Right.
You got me kidnapped like that fast? I'm like, come on, relax, you know? So they had an argument. They had like a real bad argument because she was asking, like, where's she at? She's like, don't talk to me, you know?
Yeah.
So then got the point where I'm like, all right, well, I already know you don't want to be here. Then don't be here. So I'm like, so now I'm like, come on, mom. I'm like, jeez, like, let's have a plan for her exit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they were arguing. She's like, I'm going. So I'm like, where are you going?
Dang, this
You
is
know what I'm
Christmas
saying?
Day.
This is Christmas Day. So I'm like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, ho, 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 happy holidays to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is wild. And so finally, Brandon, he went over to the family's house. She's like, I'm not going over there. I'll be back. I'm like, where are you going? I'm going where I'm wanted. And I'm like, this is wild. You know what I'm saying? And so her, Bryson, and Brene, they went to her friend's house, wherever that was. You know? So we allowed the older kids, like, all right, where do you want to go? So Brandon looking like, nigga, where do you think? I don't know where they going. Like, that sounds like a good time to me. Brene, you know, that's like her mom, like, road dog. She's like, I'm going. So now Bryson's like in the middle, like, yeah, like, you know what? I'm not going to have him over here with like a pull and tug with a little baby. I'm like, all right, just go ahead. I'll see you in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So they left and then went to Christmas dinner. Mind you, was that okay? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? But it's nothing that her Uncle Jack can't handle. You know what I'm saying? So he's sitting there.
Uncle Jack Daniels?
Yeah. So I'm like, man, this is crazy. And so I'm sitting around. Another person you should never talk to is my cousin Fred. He's like kind of like Stafford. He's like, all right, cool, good riddance. You good to go. I'm like, y'all are the worst right now. I don't even talk. You know what I'm saying?
This is not the advice.
Yeah, this is not the advice. So then,
did you tell them like your actual like feelings, or did you just tell them like the story? Did you be like, look, man, like I'm mad, but I'm like that's still like my girl, like, or did you just tell the story and they was like, oh yeah, let me take this story and run? Like,
definitely just told them the story. Definitely just told them the story. Let's all come to these other conclusions. You know what I'm saying? Let's get the mob ready to hang her. You know what I'm saying? It is the witch. It is all her. I am innocent. You know what I'm saying? I took no ownership of nothing. I am a victim. You know what I'm saying? I am a victim. It's not my fault.
Right.
You know, so but that's
So that's how it was portrayed at the time.
100%.
Dang.
To everyone. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why she would do this. I don't know why she would act this way. It's like, man, she got to go. I'm like, yes. Tell me I'm right. So
Tell me I'm right.
Yeah. So I was the victim here.
But I asked that because I feel like during this time, and maybe this was probably shortly after Christmas, I feel like we was probably at Landmark like once a week. Almost like once a week. And it'd be like
having like
our updates.
Yeah. No, this is like all during like this is that fall. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I said, I can always reach out. I'm like, listen, I need to talk to somebody. You know, the right people though, because talk to the wrong people, they have you doing crazy
On these
things.
streets
You
doing
know what I'm
something
saying?
wild,
Yeah,
right?
But I need to be able to talk to people where I can actually be open and honest and tell them, like, listen, I'm hurting right now. Like,
Yeah.
can I fix this? Is it something I should be trying to fix? Or,
Yeah.
what to do? And it's like, all right, what's going on? But I say these things now, looking back, it's like, I'm trying to fix something where truly I couldn't fix that at the time. Because, she already had made up in her mind what she's going to do. On top of that, how she's going to do it. And the person, they curated their whole existence on being like the counter branding. You know what I'm saying? So if you're telling this person all of your business and all your issues with me, it's easy for them to portray the exact opposite. You know what I'm saying? The exact opposite. And it's like, yo, I'm what you need right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like, even to the point where this person, for whatever reason, they want to like send me like mass paragraph text and everything. I'm like, you gotta be out of your damn mind. Like, this is what we're not gonna do. I am not gonna go back and forth with you. Like, you do not exist.
Right.
So not once did I ever like go back and forth like, oh no, this is what's gonna happen. I'm like, no, ain't gonna do that. And so it's like, yeah. So after that, she came and got her stuff the next day. Was I hurt? Oh, 100%. 100%. I was in the house like, do you want this box? You know what I'm saying? Keep this, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep certain things like, like I'm hurt. Like, I'm not in a good place. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep things like, all right, she's going to have to come back for this. You know what I'm saying? To get this, she's going to have to hit me up. Be like,
keep the charger.
Exactly.
She gonna need it.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you forgot these. Like, giving her like one boot out of two. Like, oh, you're going to come back for these.
Well, you a nut. Say one boot.
Yeah, you got to do like little stuff. Like, all the necessities. Like, oh, you need this, but where is it? Brandon got it.
Yeah.
Brandon, sure do.
Gotta come back.
Hey, boo, I miss you.
Right.
Let me get this boot.
So did you guys ever have like a conversation to really like after all of the uproar and all the drama from Christmas Day, did y'all have a conversation like this is really like happening? Like
Yeah. I said we had a
and
conversation.
this is why that this isn't going to work anymore. This is why we need to separate.
We never had to. This is why we need to separate. It was kind of like mine is like, what's wrong? Let me fix it. Like, I can fix it.
Right.
And then she was on the big, you should know already. You should know. You should know already. I'm like, nigga, if I'm asking you, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. There's no eureka moment. It's I'm like, oh, he knows now. Like, like I'm not gonna know if you don't know. After all this time, you should know now. It's like, in hindsight, that's what she was saying. You should know that I wanted my own space. And I'm like, I will never know that you want to be selfish enough to put yourself above our children. You know what I'm saying? That's getting our own, like, it always could be done. But to what cost? And to me, like, the cost is greater than, just moving out and just say, like, we have our own right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, that'd have been rough.
Dang. Right. So do you think that, I guess, communicating, or in your mind, like how much sooner would y'all have to like actually start communicating these things so that like y'all are both super clear on like the intention?
I think right around time, I say like when we had Bryson, we should have we should have planned out like, all right, we have our third child. What are we doing? Like, what is the end goal? Because mind you, I always kept saying we'll move out once I got like the job that I wanted. Because I knew the job was going to take us wherever it may be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I always knew that, I had time. Little did I know was I was on the clock, basically. I don't know what clock she had, but clearly I was on the clock. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, her time ran out. And she's like, all right, so listen, you're out of time. You didn't fix it. No more timeouts, buddy. Game over.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man. Damn.
And I guess it was something that kind of triggered it because it seemed like it just kind of happened out of nowhere. Or looking back, do you think like, oh, maybe I missed this?
No, I think it was like a combination thing. Like she was going through her own things of like in her early 30s and, and I think, like you said, I think it was triggered a little bit.
Yeah.
And she started doing like some self-reflection, thinking like, okay, is this what I want? Is this what I'm going to be? And it's like, no, this is not. On all those things.
Right.
Yeah. And I would say I guess bringing it up because I feel like that's one of the things that I understand why people will be like, oh, you should know.
Yeah.
Because it's little stuff. And I feel like not that we had that moment, but I remember it was like, I think I said something to you where I was like, oh, like you don't even like blueberries. And you'll be like, everything that I buy is blueberries, like, but you just didn't notice.
Because I said you wasn't paying attention.
And then I sat there and
Yeah.
I was like, damn, like
Everything
everything
she
is
does get
blueberries. I'm like, it is. I'm like, you
Like,
do
I
like
didn't even
blueberries like that.
realize, like,
And I didn't
yeah.
like put two and two together. Granted, I don't think that's something you should like, and you didn't, like we said it in a joking way, but like for you to like really be like, oh yeah, you wasn't really keeping clock on what I was like going through. It's like, could I have paid more attention? Yeah, but also it's like we got to be willing to have those conversations. Or even I never heard you say out of your mouth like, oh, I love blueberries until the day you said it, and I'm like, all right, now I pay attention to it. So I think that's the little things in relationships that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
Or we take for granted that I guess people just notice stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like when you're with someone for so long, because like you guys were together for like more than half your life, right?
Yeah, it was like what, 14 years?
Yeah. So it's like you kind of take like certain things for granted, like you don't, or you're not as conscious about like certain things because just kind of get like to routine.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't really notice little things like that when you're together for so long. I feel
That's true, especially like the routine thing. Like
Yeah.
you said,
right.
like,
Yeah.
everything just start in your mind like it's flowing.
Right.
Flowing real well.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you're not talking, it might not be flowing well. Like in my head it's flowing, but
it go right over your head. You don't even
Exactly.
realize.
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
right. But then that person, especially if they're not communicating, like don't wait until you're triggered by something to then now like, oh, and this and this and this is what the problem is. It's like part of it is you have to be able to communicate issues that you're having like when they happen.
Yeah.
Not when it's too late, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't do that. We hold things in. I know like my personality type, I used to like just kind of hold in things and then it would just spill over when like something happened. Then I'm pissed.
Broke.
I'm like, girl, this is a year ago. I don't care about that no more. Like, yeah. And that's the tough part. And I think that, like I said, in listening to all this, it's like you essentially, I'm not gonna say lose everything. It wasn't like you was out in the streets, but you lose essentially at that time over half your life with this person.
Yeah. It's like a true a true feeling, like a loss of like, I feel like we invested in each other.
Yeah.
Like
so much time.
We truly invested in each other. And it's like, now to start over on top of the things that happen when you're breaking up, it's like you're back at square root one. It's like, that is really like the hard part. Because you try to, gather all your pieces back together and everything. And when you're together with someone so long, it's like everything is mingled. Like everything. It's like everything is mingled. And it's like once it breaks, like, okay, I gotta try to do this and that and that. And it's like, but I'm doing it from a standpoint of me doing it for all now. So like us doing things together.
Yeah. It's like what's it called? It's like when if you break your leg and it heals wrong, where they gotta like break it more so that it can be like fully all the way broken apart before it can actually heal itself back together. And I feel like that's kind of what you had to do in life. Is where breakup is one thing, but now you got to break it even more so that, like I said, you completely separate and essentially do like a hard reset.
Yeah.
When that was nowhere in what you thought was going to be like the next, what ended up being like, what, 2-3 years?
Yeah. Yeah. 2 and 3 years to say the least. It was like, you tried to, like I said, in my head, everything was planned out. So like, all right, got these 2 kids early on. Boom. When you get to the 30s, you should be able to, where you're at in your life, you should be like full like in your career and like moving forward. And that's what I'm thinking. But then we have the breakup, and then one of the consequences of our breakup is I lost my career that I truly wanted to have. I mean, I was right at the end. Like, boom. I was so excited. I was even text Steph like, yo, I just got the email. I'm hired. He's like, oh, this is what you were waiting for. And this is what you were praying for. Because I was even, back then I was asking Steph, like, how do you pray for these things? Like, bro, I need help. He's like, what do you say? You know what I'm saying? Because my mind and my heart was like all over the place. And, so he kind of like walked me through with like how to deal with my feelings at the time.
That's beautiful.
Like, so that's what he did.
I love y'all friendship.
Yeah. So,
that's so sweet.
so he helped me with that. And like when I got the email, mind you, it was like a random email at the end of the day coming from work. I shouldn't be on my phone. I was like, let me answer this, John. It was random. I'm reading. I'm like, I got the job. So I hit stuff like, bro, I got the job. He's
Right.
like, so you know, Steph talks to like, yeah, I know. I'm like, he's like, you're like, yeah, like this is our plan. Like everything's happening. You know, you gotta be ready for it. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Finally, you know. And so it was like everything was going good, and then the curveball happened. We break up, and you know, without going into too much detail, I couldn't get the job because of the breakup, and so like I had to wait.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, so I had to wait for that, and then after that was finally done, I'm getting ready. All right, I got to revamp up again to go to like the next phase for like another job. That's when my heart explodes.
Yeah.
Like what is going on
Yeah.
here? It's
And-
like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he had a
crazy.
serious.
Yeah.
So real quick, if you want to just.
yeah. So I had a ordered dissection. And I had a dissection at her house. I was picking up the kids for Brandon's birthday, and I just felt like somebody punched me in the back, and I was like, "What in the world is going on here?" I was like, "All right." So I had an aorta dissection, and they were saying that's when your aorta has like a tear or like rip in it, and so it was like, I guess it was like hemorrhaging. It was bad. Mind you, they're saying normally you die. It's like you don't really live. By the time I was in very good shape because I was trying to get these jobs and I was like working out and everything like that. And so I ended up going to the Paoli Hospital. And they were telling me like, oh, it's just indigestion. Like I don't know why these doctors how they treat us sometimes. It was like indigestion. So I told my mom. She's like indigestion. I'm like, nah, man, this hurts. So mind you, I'm pretty good with pain. Yeah. And also, I don't like wearing my mom or anybody like. Yeah. I don't tell them unless it's something very, very serious. So like, mom, just don't feel like indigestion. She's like, all right. So she went and she did like the mom thing. So I don't know what she said.
My baby said,
yeah. Like she raised some serious ruckus. They came back, did imaging. So it went from indigestion to you need to have open heart surgery like right now.
How?
Yeah. Now. Right now. Not only that is we don't have any doctors capable of performing the surgery that you need. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm just gonna, sit here and hang out for a while. Like, what are we gonna do? And they're like, we're gonna see if we can fly you to Lankenau. I'm like, all right. So what are we gonna do? So they airlifted me. First helicopter ride ever. Airlifted to Lankenau. Mind you, my mom beat the helicopter to Lankenau
from Paoli.
From Paoli to Lankenau. And so
how she beat the helicopter?
Listen, mind you,
Rob was not playing.
I'm in all kind of pain. They got me wrapped up like a baked potato. So like I'm like this, and there's like all this foil and stuff on me, and they rolling me through it, right? And I see it's like my little cheer team. I see like my mom, I believe my dad, and Stafford. They're all there. And I was like, Brandon, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna make it. I'm like, oh, okay.
And talking about you taking things too lightly, I guess while he's in the hospital, Paoli, this nigga sends us a text message.
Oh yeah, I definitely did.
He sent the text to the group. Was like, hey y'all, just had a heart attack. Don't know if I'm gonna make it. I'll get back with y'all.
Like what?
Like what?
How do you say that?
Really just left it at that.
There's nothing else to say.
Left it at that, and I think I called Staver, and Stav was like, no, like, it's really serious. And I was like, what? Like, this nigga, like, just sent this super cavalier text, like, all right, well.
I was trying to get my text out, because my mom was like, at any moment, this joint could, like, burst, and no one's going to know, like, what happened to Brandon? I'm like, all right, I'm going into surgery. Love y'all. Yeah. I'll see y'all in a few. I'll be back in
Don't know if I'm going to make it.
Nah, that was a joint. He's like, don't know if I'm going to make it. I was like, what? And then I remember this was, like, I don't cry, but I almost broke that day because we was watching Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was the joint right when Yondu died or whatever, and he's about to save Quill, and he was like, I already lost one friend. I was on the couch like, oh no, Lord. I was like,
why now?
I was like, why, Lord? Why me? And I was watching the joint like, yeah. But yeah, that I feel like that's why I look at your situation like knowing and having like a front row seat to like essentially start to today and like exactly how much is like you endured and really did like, and even like I say like conversation like that, even calling like asking how to pray, it almost like I got to check myself on that too, because it's like, am I doing exactly what I'm saying for you to do? Like,
Yeah.
so it was it's truly admirable because, like I said, you did all this, and you're in the hospital for who knows how long, and you can't leave the house, and
Yeah.
it was like, even with that, then it's like, then you had like the OG COVID where you
Oh,
was down
yeah.
and out with that. Like,
Well, so the COVID, the COVID was before that.
right? Yeah.
So that's what happened with the job. So like I was ramping up to start applying again. Then I got COVID, and I always tell people I got like that first strand, like John, that will put you down.
Like we laugh about it today, but I genuinely, like I said, I look at it and I'm like, through all the trials and tribulations, like you able to like actually like start over successfully, like I said, and actually like get back on track with like what the new plan is. And so I guess before, like, with all that, one, like I said, I definitely gotta give you flowers, bro, because I
appreciate it.
Like I said, being there and seeing it, and actually seeing like with the reset, and like again, like having
But you said
all
it
your
perfect,
kids,
like being there though, because I gotta thank you also, because I don't have like a lot of friends. People might be like, oh, his friend group is so big. I don't like people. Like I truly do not like people. You know what I'm saying? And like my very close friends, we talk about everything, and I'm always one to. I have no problem like reaching out. Like, listen, I need some help right now. Like, and during like those dark times, like it was some dark times. I ain't gonna hold you. And it's like the great thing is when you guys are like, well, no, it's like, oh, Brian, what you doing? You want to come over for it? I'm like, yeah, I want to come over. You know what I'm saying? And so then we'll be like watching game, or even like the one time we came over, hung out, and then next morning went to church. You know what I'm saying? It's like you make it happen. You know, it's like, all right. But yeah, it was like as a friend group, I feel like everyone's there to kind of help me out when I need help. So like, all right, we can't let him sit here and drown. It was never like I could like drown in like pity or sorrow. It was like, oh, bro, like listen, you're gonna be all right. This is what we gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Let's check these off. You gonna be okay. So.
Don't make it weird, Kristen. Don't make it weird. So I guess
you guys want a hug,
right? So my question then, I guess,
love that for black men.
Yes,
being vulnerable.
Oh,
I love it.
I agree. Jeez. So I guess before we get out, my question we asked everybody is, so then what is, like, when you look back and all the things you've been through and being able to start over, like I said, successfully start over, being like a single father, raising your children and all things, and making sure they have putting them first, and still then having the wherewithal to still go after, because again, by the time this episode airs, other stuff will happen, and it's like, when you look back now, like, what is of all the trials, tribulations, and like I said, doing like a hard reset, starting over, what is the bright side of that for you?
No, the bright side is just realizing like my story's not told yet. You know, like we're still writing it. But the beautiful thing is I've been able to, like you said, restart. You know, 'cause at times you feel as though you can't restart, and it's like you kind of stuck, like where you're at. But you know, talking through it and realize that, listen, you don't have to stay where you're at. You know, like your story's not written. Nothing's in stone. It's like, you know, you got to move forward, and you still can achieve, you know, things you want to achieve. They might be not be exactly how you pictured it, but your end goal is still achievable. You know, it's like you got your health, you got your kids, and everything's falling into place. You know, and even if you look at where Brandon's at now, got through high school, he's going on to college, like. The plan I set forth is coming to fruition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course, you had to sacrifice some things along the way, but as long as you stay true to what you believe in, and being open and honest with yourself, you'll be okay.
Yeah. Facts. That's beautiful.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate you coming on the show, bro.
Thank you so much.
By far the funniest episode we've had so far.
Bruh.
By far the funniest episode we had so far.
You know, I was nervous because I was like, oh. Well, everyone else, they come in with someone else. I'm like, why I gotta come here solo dolo? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a little bit wild. You know, but you guys put the signal up, and you know.
Yeah, like I said,
make sure I be there for my family. Love you guys.
Love you too, bro. Definitely appreciate you, and we appreciate y'all for tuning in. we want y'all, like I said, to, as usual, hit us up if you have any comments, concerns, questions, feedback, anything. You can hit us up on our Instagram, the Brightside Show 23, or you can email us at the Brightside Show 23 at gmail.com. We hope that you got something from this episode if you're going through a similar situation, and no matter what, like I said, you can still join us on the bright side wherever you are at, because when you shine, everybody sees a little bit better. We catch y'all next time. Peace.